US trade officials are in New Delhi for their first in-person trade talks with India since President Donald Trump doubled tariffs on Indian goods to 50% last month over India's purchase of Russian oil. India's chief negotiator saying today's meeting will decide the future course of negotiations. Our talks, though, raising hope for a breakthrough in an ongoing tariff row. Mr. Trump last week striking a more conciliatory tone, expressing optimism that a trade deal can be reached. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi responding, calling the two countries, quote, close friends and natural partners, and that teams were working to conclude discussions at the earliest. Rebecca Bundhun is covering this for CNA Live from Mumbai. Rebecca, what might we expect from today's trade talks?
Well, Indian officials have been saying that these talks shouldn't be seen as a formal round of negotiations. Rather, they are discussions on how to potentially reach some kind of agreement. So analysts say that these could pave the way potentially for a round of negotiations on a trade deal taking place. But this is very significant in the sense that these are the first in-person talks that are taking place on trade between the US and India since President Trump increased those tariffs to 50% towards the end of August on India, which really was a massive blow to ties between India and the US, which are key partners. But we have seen President Trump over the past week or so, he's taken a softer stance with India in his comments describing Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a great friend. Similarly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also made positive comments about the US and India and their relationship, and both sides seem to be very committed to trying to take this forwards and reach some kind of trade deal. So these talks with US trade officials visiting New Delhi will be a key step potentially in that process.
So, Rebecca, there's commitment from Delhi to reach some kind of deal, despite that careful phrasing, stressing that these are not formal talks. It's just paving the way to formal talks.
Yes, that's right. These talks are very important for New Delhi. We've seen how Indian exporters have been impacted already by President Trump's tariffs. He doubled them to 50%. That's had a huge impact on sectors including textiles, gems and jewelry that export to the US, and India is keen to resolve this matter. However, having said that, the reason that President Trump gave for increasing those tariffs was partly, he said, as a kind of punishment for India continuing to buy oil from Russia, which the US says is partly being used to fund Moscow's war in Ukraine. Now, India has been a very sort of adamant that it's been saying that it's going to protect its national interests, that it needs oil and cheaper oil for the energy security of its population of more than 1.4 billion people. So this is something that looks like it's going to continue to be a hurdle in terms of these talks, any negotiations. Also, one of the other reasons why talks stalled, it's understood, is because India doesn't want to open up access to the US to its agriculture and dairy sectors. So again, that's going to be another challenge. So although there's cautious optimism around these talks in New Delhi that are taking place, there are also challenges that still need to be overcome, and there are going to be hurdles. This is going to be a process.
Well, thanks. Rebecca Bundhun there for CNA Live from Mumbai, looking at this one-day trade talks between the US and India.